Hello everyone, I am Mashari and welcome back to the new video tutorial of Android interview series. In this video series, we are going to take a look each of the topic or each of those questions which is generally asked during the Android developer interview. Either it's an intermediate level or a senior level, doesn't matter. So we will pick one topic in a one video, and you also see the depth of that topic, that how we can explain it during the interview, how that topic means what are the benefit and the key characteristics. And we are also going to take a look that what are the most important question or most asked question during the interview which is related with that topic. In this way, we already talked a look about the view model in the last video, and this video is all about the Android architecture. So what are the Android architecture? Generally, we know there are three main architecture Android have, three most common architecture, you can say that, like MVC. We have MVP, we have MVVM. And the newest one is MVI. MVI is, as the Google recommended to use the MVVM, so most of the interview question will be a rounding of that MVVM. We are interview not going to ask about the MVI anymore because the Google recommend the MVVM and we should follow right now MVVM. But some of the companies like Microsoft and the Facebook, Microsoft is officially using the MVI, and the Facebook, some integrated part of that company, or you can say some of the project for they are using the MVI. So they are not officially yet declared it, but I know through the reference of my friends they are using the MVI intern of team. But the MVM is the most followed. Microsoft is following the MVI right now. They officially said that. So without wasting a lot of time, let's directly go to the topic and see what is the brief of Android architecture. Whenever you hear the word about the architecture, you will get to. So first question is come that what is architecture? So architecture is basically means to foundation, you can say that, or how we made the things. So same in the software development also. Architecture is a way to write a code that help us to make our application more extendable and the maintainable. What that means? So extendable means if they have already some functionality and we want to add the new one, we can do it very easy. So it's supporting the extendable. Yeah, it's extendable means you can very easily add this new functionality. And maintainable means the functionality we already have is very easy to maintain those things. So that are the two ways. So basically, like if you go the definition in a term of internet article or the chat GPT, you will get the very lengthy. But for the prospective interview, we have something in that can be very easy to understand in your own language or in simple language. So you will easy to remember that. So for that the simplicity, I just write the new definition, which is architecture is a way to write a code that help us to make our application more extendable and maintainable. So this is very sweet and simple. You can see the slide or copy if you want. So directly move to the new one. So the another question is that what are the benefit of architecture? So like we are talking about the architecture, but why we are talking that? How is beneficial for us? So in a term of software development, writing the code with the following the architecture will help us. Two things we already see in the definition. If you don't know the benefit, you don't remember while doing the interview, just repeat those two things. It make our application extendable and maintainable. It also increase the application. It also increase our application like in the performance wise, in a code maintenance, code reusability. You can add those. Security also is there a point. So we can all those points while defining the benefits. So with the help of the writing the architecture, we can make our application scalable, like increase the scalability, maintainability, or extendable. We can make the extendable. We can make the code reusable. We can make for the security wise is also very important. So these are the benefit of using the architecture. So like we have four architecture in the Android development. We have MVC, MVP, MVVM, and the MVI. But why we have four? How we can judge, how we can compare which one is the great one, which is the good one. So for the when interviewer ask this question during the interview, do remember one thing: they are just if you give those, if you mention the common topic, that will be also that will be the good enough. So just to mention to them this in term of architecture, in term of software development, the two things are the like separation of concern means with the follow the architecture, it's easy to maintain the separation of concern. Like business logic should not have any relation with our view, and the view are, and the business logic should not have any relation with the data sources. So all the part like UI part, business logic part, and the data part are keep not tightly coupled or not relate with any of them. So this is the separation of concern. So by the following the architecture, separation of concern is a thing that is we follow or we follow the separation of concern. So this is the first benefit, and second testability. When we will talk about how we can test the things or what is testing or anything, when we discussing about that. But now under this video at this point, just know that testability, if one thing is not related to the another thing or not depend on the another thing, so test of this thing is make like is easy to test the thing. So here when we follow the architecture, so the UI part is not depend on the business logic, and business logic do not depend anything on the data sources. So in this point we can test the thing very easily. So two things here whenever you compare the two architecture is first is separation of concern and second is the testability. But the another thing you can also add. So these two things, separation of concern and testability, is a must that you have to answer. Rest of the things you can or you can't does not matter for in a sense of that you pass or fail or developer or interviewer will judge you and the knowledge. But if you mention those two things, separation of concern and testability, that's more than enough. So these are the mandatory you have to mention. So understand this better way. Now the scalability and maintainability. Scalability means same as the extendability, like extend the thing is scalable, we can extend or we can compress and want. So these are the two things that is important while judging the while discussing about the difference or while discussing about how you can say which one is preferable, which one is not in terms of architecture. Now it's come the question common architecture in Android. So here the common we are keep talking about MVC, MVP, MVVM and MVI. So for the sake of the interview, if you are watching this video for the Android developer interview, seeking to land a new job or change your job or for skills. So for the interview purpose, the three is only important: MVC, MVP, MVPM. As MVV, MVI is very less used in the in like organization of the organization. Just the two I just known that Microsoft and the Facebook, some part of the Facebook, like on a some project they are using it, not everyone. So for the sake of interview, you have to prepare for three only: MVC, MVP, MVVM. But for a knowledge, MVI you can get to know about that. So we will cover MVI is a very short manner, just a brief of that, just the basics of that, and then we are going to see the brief. The first is that we have the MVC MVP. So here model, view, and the controller in MVC. In MVP there are three elements: model, view, and presenter. In MVVM you can say what model, view, view model, and in MVI you can say that M model, view, intent. So here you can see is it that the model and the view are the common in each of the interview, each of the architecture. Just one thing is changing, like controller, presenter, view model, or intent. So if you are if you read in math in the school time, you say we are taking something common from the each element. So if I have to sort of make those things, distinguish those things which is common in also, so you can easily say that model and view are the common. The changing is the way to write a controller, presenter, view model, and intent. And let's go little inside. So you can say either it's controller, either it's presenter, either is view model. We are reading a business logics here. So what in each architecture, what the things is changing to write a business logic, where we have to write how it should communicate with the model and how should pass it view. So in a very short answer, if someone asks you the difference here is as well, so you can say like each architecture have a like MV model view controller, model view presenter, model view view model, or model view intent. So view and model are the like other common. Model where we write where which is dependent to which responsibility is take the data from the data sources and provide to the which one is up, and the view is a view where which is generally users see and they interact with. So the things is changing is right into the business logic and how it should be like how it should be communicate between the view and the data sources. So we will going to see the difference in the very depth, but this is the thing that we should mention, like model where we write the business where which responsibility is to take the data from the data sources, and the view is a view that is in front of the user can interact with. So here is another slide, which is we are going to take a look in the depth of MVC. What is MVC and what are the key component and everything about the MVC. So basically, MVC is a model view controller. This is the first architecture. You can say this is the most legacy. Like when I started writing the code of learning, we are following this, where we are writing everything in the activity. So let see how what the benefit and how it's what the disadvantage, you can say that in MVC. So MVC we have a model, which as you know the model in each of the architecture model is responsible is the one thing is take the data from the data sources and provide to the which is asked by for that. So model is always independent and it can be testable very easily in each of the views. Just remember one thing, we mentioned that model is always testable because it's independent, and its primary its responsibility is to take the data from the data sources and provide to the which one is asked for. Either like generally that controller will ask for the data, the presenter will ask on the VMPP, the MVVM, the VModel will ask. But you can say that. So here view is also like a view, the what users see on the screen, I interact with and send controller. So here what is happen is that whenever you click, we use XML where you click on like assume we have one button where you click on it, and so where the event listener will happen in the activity, which is a controller here. So here the view is a view, controller is your activity, and model is other classes which will be responsible to get the data from the server or the database and provide to the activity. So here activities are two things, two responsibility. One is providing the view to update it or handling the view. If you hide any view, you write the code in activity, and even if you get the data, you have to call from the activity to the data sources. So in this diagram, you can see that in this diagram there is a controller and the view. So V is getting updated twice with the two, like the controller and the model also. So this is the bridge. Let it understand it with a more common and understandable way. So this is the user, assume this is me, but I look more handsome than that, so sorry for that. So this is the user which interact with the view, like a button, like press the button. So where is that listener will happen? Whenever you click on the button, activity, either you have activity and fragment, will get that event, like on button click. So what happening is here, view is whenever you click on the view, the controller will getting that response. So these are the tightly coupled. Each of that action will be both are dependent. Either it get the call the network, like if you click the button, then here the event. So these are the tightly coupled. That means view is completely dependent on the controller to perform any of the action. Either if you hide the view or if you have the show, you have to write the code here. So just assume you have to add you have a code completely on MVC, and you have to add one more button there. So what you do, you have to add new button and the XML and then write the code activity. So this is not the independent when these are tightly coupled. So each of the things, either you make the extend it or the maintain, you have to write the code in the controller, even if you have to add the button in the XML. So these are the tightly coupled. So whenever you click on button, the event will get it here. Event will come here in the controller, and then controller will going to ask the model if you need the data with that button click. So assume you have to click a button like fetch data or get user or something like that. So what happens? The code comes here on event. It listens the event. It will go to the model to ask the data. Model like responding with the get the data. The data comes here. Then you provide it to the controller, and then controller updated the view. So here what is happening, controller, your activity is responsible for doing both the things. It is either handling your view also, means if you have to update the view, you have to hide the button, show the button. This will do by the controller your activity, and your activity is also calling about the data. So these are the tightly coupled view and the controller. Sorry for that. So these are the tightly coupled. Model is independent here. Model doing his work. He is not depending on anything, but the controller is depending. On the view is also dependent on the controller to perform any of the actions. So this is the tightly coupled. So this is the breach of separation of concern. What's the breach? Separation of concern say that each part should be independent and easy to testable. But here, these are the tightly coupled, these are dependent on each other. So these are the tightly coupled. So here the separation of concern breach, and also if you want to test the view, it will be difficult without this controller. If you want to test this controller, it will be difficult without a view because both are dependent on each other. So here the separation of concern and the most common aspect of the Android architecture is baked. So in this problem, to solve this problem, the developer have come with a new concept which is a MVP. MVP is model view presenter. Here the model is also responsible for data to get the data from either from the server or the database, doesn't matter, and provide to the caller one. Like which are calling the model here, the presenter will call. So what basically here view is a view like what is like in front of the user, and the presenter is the extra class, and presenter is the extra class here where we have to write the business logic. Let's understand it by one more example. Same example we are doing with the MVP. So here what we have to, what the change we made that in the view we are assuming both the XML and the activity and the fragment both in the view. So what that means, we have a view. So if we click any of the view like button, where will be the event listener will happen on the activity and activity in the view. So means view activity have just a one thing, like we have just a one thing to deal with a view. And if we need some business logic to perform the things, we are calling the presenter do some business logic for us. If we still need data business logic, a presenter will get the data from the model. So here view is independent, presenter is independent, and the model is independent. So if it's name Rehnuma, which is my name Rehnuma, so what we while testing we can external provide the things to the like providing like a function which need a string and return something from like anything on a string. So for testing the function we can, and if we do not need that part view, we are just passing the function passing the parameter string, and then we will get the result on that. So here is that on a VMVP, we have a view which we also activity and fragment is also V here. So when we click any of the things in it or any of the action performed by the user, the callback, the event will be get listened on the view itself. So here is a no dependency on any other thing. And still, if we need a presenter, if we need some perform some business logic, we are calling the presenter for that business logic. If you need data, presenter will respond. We do not know about the model here. We don't have anything related with that. If you need a model, we call the presenter. Presenter will call the model to get the data. Once the data received, it will pass the data to the update of view. And one more thing here is, presenter do not know anything of the view, do not know anything about the presenter. How that's possible? If both don't have a reference of each other, how will they communicate? So they are communicating it from they can communicate with use of interface. So we have the data one interface. So whenever data received by it will get the update on the view, and we will update itself according to need. So here what is happening? Let us understand that. We have a button. Sorry. We have a button. So we are clicking on it. Like we have a button get user. We click on it. Activity listen. That button is clicked. Activity call the presenter, right? Activity call the presenter, and presenter do the business logic. Presenter don't know about the view anything, right? We know that what is the presenter, but presenter don't know about the view. So this is called the update view. This button will click, call the presenter to do some business logic. Business logic see that we need a data from to perform the business logic. He call the model fetch the data from either its repository, REST API, or the database. They get data back to the presenter. Then presenter have an interface. Whenever we receive the data interface, with the help of interface, we are passing it to the view. So here the separation is concern is completely followed. View is independent, presenter is independent, model is independent. View don't know, we have a reference of presenter, presenter don't know what is the view, how to deal with it, where it is, and model don't know about the presenter. So you just pass the data to the here. So this is in this way the separation of concern is completely followed, completely. But the question arises here is when we have a MVP, why we need another architecture MVVM? Here you can say that separation of concern is completely followed. So this advantage is here is that for communicating between the view and the presenter, we need an interface. So we have to write a code for that. What if something comes that will make very easy to us without writing an interface, without writing extra line of code, we can deal with it directly. So with solve of this problem, the another architecture comes in the place which is known as the MVVM. So this is the most used architecture. Google also recommend it, and most of the developers are using it for their complex project. So here is the MVVM. MVVM model, the main model as you can keep looking at it from the MVC, MVP, and now MVVM also. It is a model which is responsible to get the data from the either the data sources, either it's REST API or the database. So here remain the same. View is a view, what in front of the user is a view, and the view model. View model, I need a complete video of view model, what it is, how it's beneficial, what the work it does, how it's come into existence, what are the most important work that do with the view model, how that work can be done. Into my previous video. If you didn't watch yet that video, I recommend you to go and check a look that why it is important, what is view model. I'm going to cover it very short because I don't want to make this video very longer. So I think here or here you can see that the link of the of that video tutorial. You can directly go and watch that one. Basically, view model help us to write a business where we write the business logic. It communicates between the repository, which is a model. You can assume that, and get the data and provide to the view. So here, take a look how it's done. So here you can say this is the simple or the common things you can common structure of this slide which we see in the MVP. So the difference here is only that there was a presenter, here is a view model. So again everything is the remain same. Like if we need to view, if you click any of the button on the view, it will update activity of fragment will listen that event. If they need a business logic, if they need some data, they go ask the view model, I need data. View model go to the model, ask give me data, view model back to the data, and view model back to the view. But here the communication between view and view model is through the observer. We do not need the length of interface or length of code, just need the observer on that data, and whenever the data gets changed, it get observed easily under view. So this is the difference between the MVP and the MVVM. So let's understand it one more time. So basically, if view need a data, we call the view model call the model provide the data to the view model, and view model directly not have a reference of view, not have anything to do with the view. So view model, when the data gets changed into the view model, it can be observed. It by the help of observer, it helps the observer. So difference between the MVP and MVVM is only that in MVVM to communicate between in MVP, if presenter have to communicate, MVP we have a presenter. So if in MVP presenters have to communicate with, if need to communicate with the view, it communicate with the help of the interface. But in MVVM, if the view model need a communicate with the view, it has done with the help of observer. So this is the minor difference between those two. Here the separation of concern is basically is completely followed because view model do not have anything related to view. You can test the thing independently very easily. So these are the benefit of using the MVVM. So here the time comes to take a look in the most recent used architecture, which is the MVI architecture. Here the full form of MVI is model view intent. Whenever you listen the word intent in a term of architecture or in MVI, this is not the intent that we generally use the Android. So please do not get confused. In a very simple way, you can understand that intent is means interaction or the action performed by the user. So it's, you can say, MVI model view intent, where intent is not an Android intent. The intent means the action taken by the user or the action performed by the user. Here we also have a model view, the things which change the intent. So basically we understand is that model remain the model. I'm not going to discuss it because we already discussed a lot of time, where the primary work of that is that it handles the data where the come out, REST API or the database. View is a view, we already know. Now take a look at the intent. Let's understand it with this diagram. Here is the user perform any action, it goes to the intent with the model check that do we need to create the new intent or not, new intent, new action or not, provide to the screen. This is basically used in if you have a name Rahima Shari, or if you have a string which can be displayed in a three different screens. So here the data source remain the same, that intent remain the same, and we can show them into the different screen. So if we have to change, we need to change the data in the one time. So this is about the MVI and intent. It's a very short and very top level. We are not going to deep or dive in it because it's not necessary for the interview, and this video playlist is all about the interview. Some other day we will keep it a brief when it is come into the existence, or when developer start using it. I will make surely a video on it where we will explain the depth of it. So for now, just understand MVI is a model view intent, where we have dealing with intent, which is the interaction or the action performed by the user. Here the model view remain the same as we have keep saying it. And intent is about the action, you can say, and the state basically you can say, which preserve the state. Like if we need to show the multiple screen on the same data, so where this architecture is generally used at. Now this is the most interesting time of this interview, this video tutorial. We are going to take a look about the interview question. It is commonly asked during the annual interview from the MVVM. So first is, what is MVVM? Basically it's a definition. Like MVVM is the architecture which generally help us to make our write out the way of code, write the code that can make our application more extendable and maintainable. You can answer that. That's completely a definition. Second question is, how does MVVM differ from the another architecture pattern like MVC, MVP? Third one, they explain the key component of MVVM. We already take a look what the ViewModel do, what is the model, and what is the view here. How does data binding in the MVVM, and what is the advantage? We are seeking that also. What are the roles of the live data in MVVM? How to handle the configuration change in MVVM? What are the benefits of using the view model in MVVM? How to perform asynchronous operation in MVVM, especially regarding network requests? Some of that question are already explained, like the benefits, unlike the benefits of the definition or the key component of the MVVM. Two questions are marked as underlined, like how to handle the configuration change in the MVVM and what are the benefits of using the view model in the MVVM. This both are the question is regarding the view model. So I already made a video on a view model where we have covered all those topics. So I will not gonna answer this in this video. If you want to take a look, please go to the video. You can see the reference link here, or already I will put it on the description also. So just click it, go to the video and watch that. Will get you complete understanding of it. Let's go to the question directly. The first question is, how does MVVM differ from the another architecture pattern like MVC and MVP? So here MVC and MVP. MVC have a controller, MVP have a presenter. So when you are going to talk about the difference, the first thing you must mention the separation of concern. So in MVC, the controller, the activity is responsible for both the things, the updating the view, get the data from the data model. So the view and the controller are tightly coupled. MVP, the separation of concern is almost solved because we have a presenter, but here we write a code of business logic in the presenter, not in the activity. So activity has just one work to deal with view. So here there is no tightly binding of the component, but for communication between the view and the presenter, we need an interface. So we need a write code. So this is the disadvantage. But in MVVM, we have a view model, so we can observe the changes into the view and we don't have to write the interface. And second, we have a view model and list here all the benefits that have a view model. So you can answer it in a way that we interviewer want to know that. So for the best answer of this, you can say that MVC have a controller which is tightly coupled with the view, because whenever any of the event performed on the view by the user, activity listen it, and activity is also responsible to dealing with the view and getting the data from the model. So here is the view and the controller are the tightly coupled. In MVVM, there are no component are tightly coupled, but for communication between the presenter and the view, we need an interface. So this is the disadvantage also. When it comes to term on the MVVM, we are getting the testability is very easy because the node component are dependent on each other. So testability is easy. We have a view model here which will survive the configuration change. It's have a live data that can be observed in the view, so we not need to write an interface. So these are the you can mention. Here on the slide I also mentioned about the data binding. Basically we have a view model, so data get observed in the view. So whenever data change, it get observed. So this is binding. We will take a look depth when we are talking about the binding. View interaction here means like if you click it on a view, data get updated in the view model. If data get updated in the view model, it directly reflects to the view. So these are the view interaction. Testability and dependency direction means flow from model to view model, then view. So whenever the data gets in the model, it come to the view model, and that whenever the data gets changed in the view model not need to pass to the view. We will already get observed with the help of observer. So these are the benefit also. You can also say you can explain the thing what I have explained in the last slide. This is the same thing as writing here in the slide in the two ways. So if you are going to answer it, if you want to express yourself or more depth knowledge, mention the thing. Here you are also going to do the same thing what I have learned so far, but in place of way mention that when you mention the difference, mention in terms of data binding. Like MVC, MVP don't have a support the data binding. MVVM does because it have a view model, and whenever the view data changes into the view, it reflects into it change into the view model also. And if data get changed in the view model, it's also changed into the view. So this is the data binding. You can say that also. Here time come where we are going to seek about how does data binding work in MVVM and what are its advantages. So let repeat it again. What is a role of live data in MVVM and MVVM? So live data is a data, you can say in a simple word, which can be observed. In a term of interview, when interviewer asks this, just say the live data is a data which can be observed. So if any changes happen inside it, it will be get updated automatically whenever or wherever it is using. You have to just mention that is enough. But if someone asks more, then say it's a life cycle aware, automation update is there, and it handles the configuration change also. Here the question arises, how do you handle the configuration change in MVVM? So for handling the configuration change, we have a view model which will remain. When the configuration change happens, the activity will destroy itself and recreate. So that means whenever activity destroy and recreate, the instance of the view model remain the same on the new created activity instance. And how this happen, I already made a video which is in this playlist. On the first rank is a view model. You can go. You can see the link of the view model in my description. I will put that for sure for your reference. Just click on it and go. And you can also see the notification either here or here. I'm not so sure. We'll check that after video. So you can go through it and also click on it and go through it very easily. And I request you to watch complete video for better understanding and get to know each of the things on the view model and the interview question also there. So for both the question, how do you handle the configuration change and what are the benefits of using the view model? Here you can see the another question, how do you perform the asynchronous operation in MVVM, especially regarding the network request. So this question is all about how do you perform the network request in the MVVM. Sorry. For that, we have how do you perform? So we have a view model where which will request the model to perform some data to get data from the get data from the server or the database. Here we are talking about the network request, so must that model will get the data from the from that from the REST API. So view model will be responsible to ask the model to provide the data. Pro model is a repository basically. So repository will call the server, provide the data to view model, and once data received by the view model, whenever we are using that view in a view, it will get data automatically by the help of observer. So this is, you can say, say in the term of this question. You can also mention about coroutines. We have a coroutine that help us to do that network operation into the different thread, not on the main thread. Especially we do in either it's up to you, like we do all the others or the you, but make sure that you do not do this in the UI thread, because if we get pull up, basically UI thread is responsible to redo the UI in 16 seconds, 16 milliseconds. So if that will not get refreshed in the 16 millisecond, you can see the UI is stuck, and then you will get the not responding a pop-up, and then Android system will close your application if you click on the close. So this is the problem happen if you do the network call into the UI thread. So for answering the things like how do you sorry, the slide is getting changed, maybe some issue with my system, extremely sorry for that. So let's discuss on this here. But how do you perform the asynchronous programming? So you can, while answering this, you can say that for performing the network request, we have a view model that will call the model or repository. Repository will call the server to get the data from the server. It must be not called on directly on the UI thread. You have to use the coroutine and call it another thread. So your UI thread will get UI thread will be free from the network request, and it's a background task, so that is easy to that will be mandatory, you can say, or the essential to do the in another thread. And once the data get back on the view model through the observer, you will get observed. So this is all from the interview perspective of the MVVM, and I try to cover most of the important topics, points, and the interview question also. But is there anything that remain unshorted or unanswered? Please ask on the comments. I will definitely try to reach out to you as the earliest of my convenience and provide you the best of the detail that I can. Sorry, my slide is not working, so sorry for that. Let's end with this slide also, on this slide. But the few important things I just must mention, whenever you are interview and answer that, try not to get confused, or try to keep shorter. We have a very less amount of time, I know that you have for that. Here, so while we are talking about the interview, so while facing the interview or while you are in the interview, try to answer the concise things, simple, in a simple language. Use the word you have most remembered or most easy to express yourself, because this is the important, and just look cool, that look impressive while you in a terms of interview. I have taken a lot of interview, or I have a knowledge that users have a knowledge but not able to express yourself. That's easy to use the simple language. That is the most important thing, and be the confident. If you don't know any of the answer, try to explain something on that topic, so the interviewer will know that you have some knowledge but not able to explain themselves. And this will help you to do the land job. And the last request, if you like my video, I'll try to provide the best of my knowledge. Maybe I'm not express myself as well as I should do with that, so sorry for that, but I try to explain it in a more clear way and more easy way, so you will understand the benefits and the basic of that topic. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe my channel, and also share the video to the friends. So let's end it here. Thanks for watching the video. Bye bye.